putting no smart meter in here. The bill's been paid. It's not. You're not putting no smart meter in here. The equipment can go. Tell them to take everything out. I told you, there's nobody putting a meter in here. I have told the electricity board, I've changed the bill's been paid. They said the payment of the bill in full. It's been paid.
Alaska. If you live at the North Pole. If you live in North Canada. Siberia maybe. Then come to the UK, where it's even colder in our homes. Okay, we have here, people struggling could get lower energy prices. Now, I can see where this is going. And when you read this, it makes you think, has this been planned all along? We shall see. Now, discounted energy bills for millions of vulnerable people are being considered as a long-term option to tackle unaffordable prices. Okay, long-term. So they know, excuse me, this is going to be carrying on for quite a while. Long-term option to tackle unaffordable prices. Under so-called social tariffs, certain groups of people on low incomes would be offered lower cost deals. Now, we hear of the social credit system in China, and also around the world they're talking about bringing these social credit systems in, whereby, you know, people get paid a certain amount of money. And also in China, they lose certain aspects of their credits if they don't do as they're told. What better way to get people onto this system than to give them lower priced energy in a social credit system? And at the same time, this arguably could have been planned for a while. Am I just being a conspiracy theorist here? How dare I think that all this is part of the globalist agenda? Hike the cost of living up, hike utility bills, hike the price of gas and electric, and therefore we know the poorer will not be able to afford it. Therefore we introduce a social credit system concerning they get extra help with their payments. But in the long term, the idea is to enslave these people. If they don't do as they're told, if they don't do this, if they don't do that, then they lose this and they lose that. What a great way to put a chain and ball around people's necks and feet. And further down we read, which is absolutely amazing, which, again, long-term planning. Am I a conspiracy theorist? Okay, why are suppliers allowed to force customers onto prepayment meters? Okay, before smart meters existed, energy firms would have to get a warrant to enter your home and physically install a prepayment meter. Now, smart meters enable energy firms to switch customers from, wait for it, smart meters enable energy firms to switch customers from direct debit payments to a prepayment meter system remotely. Did you get that? I'll say it for you again. Now, smart meters enable energy firms to switch customers from direct debit payments to a prepayment meter system remotely. You know, I remember about 20 years ago, well, maybe 15, no, I'm sure it was about 20 years ago, up to 15, 17 maybe years ago, I remember getting a letter through the door. And it said, you know, we'd like to Smith. It's not German. Or is Klaus Schwab German? No, I think he's Austrian. Wasn't that where Hitler was from? World Economic Forum. Anyway, let's move on. So, I got this letter, and it said on the letter, we'd like to enter your home to fit a smart meter, or something very similar. I'm sure it was a smart meter. I know it's 15, 17 years ago. And it said, if you don't allow us to come in, we are going to get the police to come in. And I thought, what the heck's this? So anyway, I got in touch with them and I said, what, you know, what's going on? Blah, 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 blah. You haven't got the right to do this, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, they backed down. Now, the letter I received actually said in black and white they would enforce this for no reason. There was no reason why they should have done it. You know, I hadn't given them a reason or anything like this. And it wasn't until a couple of years later I remember reading a newspaper article or seeing it on the news that people have been threatened if they didn't allow these energy companies in. And what they were doing was illegal. They were threatening people with basically forced entry into the homes, which had happened to me for no reason. other than they wanted to fit some kind of with a smart meter or some other kind of meter into the home. But I didn't let them, obviously. So this, to me, has been planned for a long time. The capability of the smart meters to remotely put people over. So all this big push towards smart meters, there's been an undercurrent, there's been another reason for this. And that is, for me, conspiracy theorist, which is, you know, I'm always being proven correct, and I will get proven correct when I make a claim, because I've got a history of being proven correct, and that's not making me some kind of someone who can see in the future. That's just making me look at this and think, right, I'm going to start thinking how they think. I'm going to start being deceiving in my thoughts how they would be. And it's dead easy. You just sit there and you think of how narcissists and also how those who want to control you think and plan ahead, because they're miles, decades ahead of us. And for me, this capability is one of the reasons they've been putting out there these smart meters. And that means I don't care how much money you've got now. I don't care who you are. If you've got a smart meter in your home, they're going to start pricing you into a position, unless you're one of the elites, whereby you will be moved over to a prepayment meter remotely through your smart meter if at any time they decide they want to. Any time. And this is the controlling globalist agenda to control everything. And eventually you'll have your little social credits. And if you don't do as you're told, your gas and electric will be turned off. You'll lose this. You'll lose that. So anybody says to you about smart... I haven't got a smart meter, and I won't have one unless they come banging through that door. But I'll be waiting ready for them, because I've got plans. I've got big plans for these people. I'm going to take over... No. So, Ofgem rules state that energy suppliers must have effective checks and balances in place when switching the mode of a smart meter. I'm sorry, but, you know, they don't, do they? Come on. Clearly, they've not been enforced by Ofgem to do this in terms of what Ofgem say. They just ignore anyway, and they're just doing it. And it's all part of the... I wouldn't be surprised if Billy Gates was funding Ofgem. The regulator advises customers with concerns to speak to their supplier. Pointless. You know, under Ofgem rules, they must offer payment plans you can afford, and you can ask for emergency credit if you use a prepay meter and can't top up. This is where they put us into this position. Freezing in our homes, unable to pay our bills. They've put smart meters in our homes. Those same meters, when they decide to hike up the prices of the gas and the electric, then they've known they'll be able to remotely switch it over. Then they're going to bring in, because you can't afford your gas and electric, this social credit system. They'll give you money if you're a good boy, a good girl, etc., etc. You've been duped, folks. It's time to wake up, stand up, great reset, according to whose standards?